He told me he's too pretty for jail.
All right, Mr. Farber, come forward, please, sir.
Hello, how are you today?
All right, how are you?
Do I come to the podium or stay back here?
Every person has come to the podium. You're going to do the same thing as everybody else. That's okay. So, sir, you're making, can you state your name and date of birth, first of all, for the record?
Trenton Robert Faber, 11/23/1981.
Okay, so Mr. Faber, you're making a first appearance arraignment on a charge of failure to transfer title within 45 days. Failure to transfer title within 45 days is what is called a simple misdemeanor in the state of Washington, subject to 90 days in jail and a $1,000 fine. Because this is a criminal charge, sir, you have several important rights today, including the right to remain silent, the right to a speedy and public trial, and the right to an attorney. Would you like to be screened today, sir, for a court-appointed attorney?
No, it's all right.
Okay. Would you like to enter a plea of not guilty and set up a date to speak to you about your case with the prosecutor?
If it's at all possible, I am trying to leave the state as soon as possible. And I've still got 2 more court cases up in Everett next week. May I just throw myself at the mercy of the court, pay a fine, and be done with it? Because I gave that van back. I had it for a week and I don't own it. I came out here to camp one night and got pulled over.
Well, so it is a charge that would involve doing what's called a statement of defendant on plea of guilty that we would have to fill out. So it's not something that's an infraction unless the city were to change the charge to an infraction. So we can, I don't know, do we have the resources this afternoon to do a change of plea?
I could do it, I guess. And I'll defer to the court. I guess I have some concerns about capacity to understand the documents I'm giving him today. In the short amount of time we would have to discuss it. I can't tell exactly what is going on, but I don't know if it's constitutional or if it's something else. I'm a little hesitant to discuss a plea statement right now with the defendant.
Okay.
I am in every way constitutional. I mean, I know it's not the right way to say that, but I am very well aware of my surroundings, and I'm not driving. I don't have a van. I gotta take the bus all the way back to Vancouver, but I made my friend drive up here earlier this morning, and it's just been a long morning so far.
And if the court wants me to prepare paperwork, I obviously will. I just wanted to put that on the record.
Yeah, it looks like he comes to us from Montlake Terrace, Washington. It's like it's the mailing address. It sounds like he doesn't have transportation. So certainly for a future court date, the only court appearance in our court that requires an in-person appearance right now is the arraignment. Meaning a future court date, including a date for case resolution, could be done over Zoom.
Okay.
If you've appeared for court on Zoom before. So it's not a scenario where if we don't resolve the case today, you're coming back down here multiple times. That's not really going to be necessary, at least. Why don't we give it a try?
Right.
And if at some point you want to say, hey, this is not going to work, then I'm fine with setting it.
Okay.
Okay, we'll try to give it a shot today, sir.
Okay.
All right. All right, Mr. Farber, you want to come on up?
So, Your Honor, in this case, I did begin the paperwork. I did sit down with the defendant. I think as this court probably knows, I typically can resolve cases with pro se defendants in an amicable way. I typically feel like they knowingly are entering into this resolution. And speaking with Mr. Faber, he keeps asking whether he can just pay a fine and be done with this. I did indicate that the city's request, if he wants to plead to a misdemeanor, would be 1 day in jail or 2 days work crew. He told me he's too pretty for jail. I'm not sure what to do with that information. He also told me he couldn't, well, hold on. This was about how our conversation went. He told me he won't be staying in Battleground. Then he indicated to me he wanted to appear by Zoom. Then he indicated to me he wanted to provide additional documentation. I again asked him if he wanted to be screened for a court-appointed attorney, but then he said, no, he wants to be done with this. I have given Your Honor the paperwork that I began drafting. Certainly, if this court wants him to enter, or if he decides to enter into a plea, the plea statement has been filled out. He has not signed any paperwork, but I have handed him the appendix sheet listing the elements the city would need to prove.
I think that a majority of that is true, but I think she is misconstruing a lot of what happened. She never told me it was a day in jail, and she kept asking me if I wanted to be scheduled or screened for a lawyer. I don't mind if there's a misdemeanor on my record. I don't want to come back here. I would like to have this handled today. I don't think I am being contradictory when I say that and follow it up with, but if I have to come back, I would prefer to go do it over Zoom. I have court cases in Seattle and Edmonds that I have to figure out the logistics of getting to that. So if it's a day in jail, I have absolutely no problem turning myself in, walking right out the door from here. But she didn't say a day in jail. She led me to believe it was going to be like a couple of months. And
No.
I did say that I was too
We're
privy.
not doing this.
Yeah.
We're not doing it today. All right, so I'm gonna be entering a not guilty plea for you, Mr. Faber. We're gonna be assigning future court dates, both of which can be done over Zoom. The first of which would be pro se pretrial on the 25th of May, 2023 at 2 p.m. The second would be a readiness hearing on June 15th, 2023 at 2 p.m.
Okay, thank you. I will make myself available.
Do you, because we are not proceeding with the plea today, do you want to reconsider being screened for a public defender? Since you have to come back anyway?
Well, I'll figure it out.
Okay. All right, Mr. Faber, we'll get you some paperwork over by the door. Once you have your paperwork, you are free to go.
Thank you,
sir.